They were Britain's favourite couple. For 2 years, Chelsea Stevens and Jake Harper had been the golden faces of renovation romance, Channel 5's feel-good series, where crumbling homes and struggling relationships were rebuilt just in time for a perfect reveal. Viewers loved their chemistry, their laughter, their easy affection. The tabloids called them Britain's sweethearts. But off-camera, things were no longer picture-perfect. At a glittering Christmas press event in central London, under chandeliers and fake snow, the network announced something unexpected: a live Christmas Eve special, a countryside cottage renovation, a real couple, a real-time reveal. Millions watching across the UK. It would save their ratings battle against the BBC. It would also mean cancelling Chelsea and Jake's long-promised holiday. Jake immediately agreed. Bigger audience, bigger sponsors, bigger future. Chelsea forced a smile. Because lately, bigger was the only direction Jake seemed to care about. They travelled to Hampshire to renovate a centuries-old brick cottage, inherited by Cooper Ellis and Janice Monroe. The couple had been together 5 years. Cooper had left his high-paying banking job in Canary Wharf after burnout changed his priorities. He wanted slower mornings, countryside air, a home filled with warmth. Janice, a successful London interior designer, saw the cottage as an asset: modernise it, sell it, move into something sleek in Kensington. They loved each other, but they wanted different futures. As filming began, the parallels were impossible to ignore. Janice kept returning to London for meetings. Jake kept slipping back to London for brand negotiations he wouldn't fully explain. Chelsea remained on site, overseeing the build, designing a long oak dining table meant to anchor the home at Christmas. One cold evening, as she sanded the table's edge, Cooper joined her. "You ever think," he asked gently, "that sometimes people outgrow each other, not because they failed, but because they changed?" Chelsea didn't answer, but the question stayed with her. Midweek, a tabloid headline exploded online: "Trouble behind Britain's perfect TV couple." Paparazzi photos, speculation, rumours of tension. Dominic, their executive producer, panicked. "We need magic on Christmas Eve," he insisted. "A proposal, a grand gesture, something unforgettable." Chelsea refused to pressure Cooper into proposing for ratings. Jake didn't argue, but he didn't defend her either. That silence hurt more than disagreement. Christmas Eve arrived. The cottage transformation was stunning. Original brick restored. Soft countryside charm blended with elegant London touches. Fairy lights wrapped the beams. Snow began to fall just as the live broadcast opened. Millions were watching. Chelsea and Jake stood before the cameras, flawless and smiling. They walked Cooper and Janice through the reveal. Tears filled Janice's eyes. Cooper squeezed her hand. The moment felt like it was building toward a proposal. Instead, Janice gently pulled her hand away. "This house is beautiful," she said softly, "but my heart isn't here, and I think pretending it is would be unfair." The audience fell silent. Cooper nodded, pain in his eyes, but also understanding. They hadn't failed. They had simply grown in different directions. It was not dramatic. It was honest. And it was real. The producers scrambled backstage. This wasn't the fairy tale ending they'd scripted. Chelsea stood still, heart pounding. She could feel something breaking and something freeing at the same time. She turned to the camera. "We've spent years telling couples that every home can be restored," she began, her voice steady but vulnerable. "But sometimes, the bravest renovation isn't fixing what's cracked. It's admitting when you've changed." Her eyes met Jake's. "For a long time, Jake and I have helped others rebuild their futures. But somewhere along the way, we stopped asking if we still wanted the same one." The garden tent was completely silent. Jake swallowed. For once, there was no performance. "We love each other," he said quietly, "but we are not the same people we were when this started." No accusations. No drama. Just truth. "And that's okay," Chelsea finished. A few seconds of stillness. Then, applause. Not shocked applause. Respectful applause. Across the UK, viewers weren't watching a perfect romance. They were watching two adults choose honesty. In the weeks that followed, The Christmas special became the most talked about live program of the year, not because of a proposal, but because of authenticity. Renovation Romance was renewed, with a new promise: no fairy tale scripting. Just real homes, real couples, real growth. Janice returned to London, focusing on her design firm. Cooper kept the cottage, turning it into a countryside retreat business. Chelsea stepped away from the perfect couple image and began hosting the show solo, stronger, grounded, unapologetically herself. Jake pursued his business ventures in London. They remained friends, partners in success, if not in love. On New Year's Eve, Chelsea revisited the cottage for a follow-up shoot. Snow blanketed the fields. Warm light glowed from inside. Cooper greeted her at the door. No grand gestures, no music swelling, just possibility. They stood outside for a moment, breath visible in the cold air. "Funny," he said, smiling gently. "We renovated the house." Chelsea looked at the lights glowing against the snow. "And maybe ourselves," she replied. "If you loved this London Christmas story, don't forget to like this video. Subscribe to the channel for more romantic, emotional, and festive stories from the UK and beyond. And tell me in the comments below, do you believe in fixing love or letting it go? Your support means everything, and more beautiful stories are coming soon. If you want, I can also make it more energetic, more classy, or more dramatic trailer style.